The bride belongs to a very wealthy family, and when they got word that the groom's father was just a simple janitor, they were clearly not pleased about it. They did not want the father of the groom anywhere near their family. They tried their best to keep the groom's father from coming to the big day, but when the janitor showed up at the wedding, he came with a gift that put the bride's family to shame. When Amilia and Brandon first met, it did not take them long to fall in love. The two were inseparable, and they became comfortable with each other. They were just dating for a few months, but they already knew each other's deepest fears and biggest secrets. A year and a half into their relationship, Brandon proposed, and Amilia said yes without a second thought. Brandon's family was overjoyed for the happy couple. But things were not exactly the same for Amelia's family. Brandon was hardworking and well-mannered. Amelia's parents could see that he really takes good care of their daughter. Their problem was Brandon's family situation and background. They felt that this could cause an issue not only in the wedding, but also in their marriage. When Amelia's great-great-grandfather arrived in America, he started his own business, became successful, and the family continued running the business until it evolved into a huge company. This made Amelia's family very rich. Amelia's family belongs to the elite, and usually, the elite only marry the elite. They do this to ensure that there'll be no freeloaders in the family. Everyone wanted their kids to marry a well-off person who could maintain, or better yet, increase the family wealth. Brandon did not come from a wealthy family. His mother was unable to work for years because of a health condition. His father worked as a minimum-wage janitor. It was a far cry from Amelia's world, and this made them think that Brandon would not be a suitable fit for Amilia. Although Brandon was a hard worker, he had yet to forge a successful career. Once he accomplishes that, Amelia's parents would probably change their minds about him. Amilia had a feeling that her parents would react this way. But she was determined to marry Brandon. She was truly in love and did not care about his social standing. The most important thing to her was the fact that Brandon loved her more than anything in the world. Amelia's parents were terrified of what this marriage could mean for their daughter. Amilia had grown up with a certain lifestyle, and they believed that it would not take long before Amilia realizes that Brandon could not give her the life that she was used to. Amelia's parents sat down and started scheming. They would pretend that they would give their wedding their blessing and pay for the whole thing to prove it. After all, they knew how stubborn Amilia can get, and that meant the wedding would go on with or without them. Amelia's parents found a way to use the wedding to their advantage. They planned out for a very expensive event to show off their wealth to Brandon and his family. This way, they can establish their dominance in the situation. Brandon and Amilia had second thoughts about this, but eventually the couple relented when Amelia's parents insisted and told them that this was going to be their wedding gift. But Amilia was not fooled. She knew her parents still thought less of Brandon and his family. Amilia worked on setting up a meeting between her family and Brandon. She did not want her first meeting between two families to take place on the wedding day. Knowing her parents, it could mean disaster in case they started acting up on her big day. Amelia's parents agreed to meet Brandon's family. For them, it was another opportunity to show off their status. They insisted on hosting the meeting in their place. They knew anyone would feel inferior once they stepped inside their house. On the day of the meeting, Amelia's parents dressed up in expensive clothes. Unfortunately, Brandon's father, Nikolai, came straight from work, so he did not have a chance to change out of his janitor uniform. He explained that he did not want to be late for the big meet. Amelia's parents found this to be distasteful, and they did not make any efforts to hide it. They made fun of Nikolai's outfit and made sure he would see them secretly laughing at him. After a while, Nikolai stood up and made an excuse to leave. Amelia's parents were happy when Nikolai left early. They believed that they had been successful. Everything was very hard for Amilia to watch. She was very disappointed in them. She could not believe her parents were capable of doing such things. As the wedding day approached, Brandon's mother and sister dropped by frequently to help out. But Amilia and Brandon never saw Nikolai. Amilia started to worry that her future father-in-law wouldn't even show up on the big day. On the day of the wedding, there was still no news from Nikolai. Amilia started to panic. Brandon's mother assured the couple that there was no way Nikolai would miss out on his son's wedding. This was something that only happens once. A few minutes before the ceremony started, Nikolai arrived. Not only did he grace them with his presence, but also he made an effort to look nice. He rented a good suit, got good shoes, and his hair was styled. You couldn't even tell he was a janitor. As a last resort to ruin the wedding for Brandon's parents, Amelia's parents tried to change the seating arrangements. They tried to move Brandon's parents all the way to the back of the room. Amilia was fortunately able to catch this and fixed what her parents did. Amelia then confronted her parents about the way they were behaving. She told them that they were being rude and disrespectful, and that if they did not stop ruining her wedding, she would never forgive them. During the ceremony, she started to feel anxious as they approached the part where the priest would ask if anyone would object to their union. Amelia feared that her parents or one of her relatives would stand up and ruin her big day. When the moment came, Amelia was almost surprised that her family had chosen to stay silent. As the ceremony continued, she started to relax, knowing that in just a few minutes she would be officially married to Brandon. The wedding ceremony went on smoothly, and they were able to say their vows and exit the church in peace. The happy couple thought that they were doing well, but that thought changed when they reached the reception venue. There was an awkwardness in the air. Amelia's guests were hardly mingling with Brandon's guests. It was very uncomfortable, but Brandon and Amelia decided to do their best to enjoy their special day. They accepted the fact that their families would never get along. Amelia planned to make a huge show out of the gift-giving ceremony. They asked the host to make the parents of the bride and groom present their gifts in front of the guests. The newlyweds would then have to open the presents from their parents in front of everyone. Amelia's parents made sure that the newlyweds would open their gift first so that Nikolai would see how expensive their gift was. They gave tickets for a 2-week all-expense-paid vacation in the Maldives for their honeymoon and a brand-new car. When it was the turn for Brandon's parents, Brandon's mother gave the newlyweds an antique tea set. She shared that the same tea set was handed down to her by her mother on her wedding day. It was a great way to show Amelia that she was part of the family now. Then Nikolai pulled out a small gift box. He handed the gift to Amelia and told her that he had created the gift himself and that he had hoped the couple would use it when they move into their new home. Amelia excitedly opened the present and immediately started crying when she saw what was in the box. She then put the gift down, stood up, and hugged Nikolai, thanking him for always treating her like his own daughter. At this point, everyone was leaning forward trying to see what the gift was. Brandon took it out and showed everyone it was a small, beautiful plate with writing on it. On the plate was written, "Welcome to the residence of Brandon and Amelia Parker." When Brandon read the message on the plate, all Amelia's parents could hear were the words, Amelia Parker. It was like a cold splash of water on their face. They realized that from this day on, Amelia would no longer be carrying their family name. No matter how hard they tried to exclude Nikolai from the family, from this day forward, their daughter would be carrying Brandon's and Nikolai's last name. She was now Amilia Parker, and they had to make peace with that. Amelia's father started to realize how all their efforts were in vain and how stupid they were behaving. He made his way to Nikolai and shook his hand. He was officially welcoming them as family. Nikolai smiled at him as if accepting the unspoken apology. It took a while for Amelia's mother to recover from it. Eventually, she also made her way toward Nikolai and apologized for the way that they'd been behaving. She was glad that Amelia would be marrying into a family that welcomed her with open arms. After the wedding, Amelia's parents started to be nicer to Brandon and his family. They even offered Nikolai a better job to make up for their bad behavior, which he refused, saying that he was happy as a janitor. The story just proves that having money and status does not necessarily mean you're happy. What truly matters is how genuine the care and effort you are receiving from the people around you are. And Amelia is indeed very lucky to have both from her two families.